box office this weekend, and we're starting with The Mummy. I told you before we went to break, his review for this is not pretty.
It's not pretty. This is a weekend where we got the best of times and the worst of times, and unfortunately The Mummy represents the worst of times. This is a movie, it's the second remake we've seen of the 1932 horror classic starring Boris Karloff. This movie stars Tom Cruise, Russell Crowe, Annabelle Wallis, Jake Johnson. It's a film that's supposed to launch this dark universe movie world. Universal owns the rights to Van Helsing, Frankenstein, all these other characters, and they're hoping the success of this movie will launch a whole string of movies. But I think they're putting the cart before the horse, because you got to make sure you have a good foundation before you can start building a movie world. And boy, do they have a bad foundation. This is corporate mandated filmmaking at its worst. It feels like it was made on an assembly line, and it's just a movie that doesn't have any personality. It doesn't have any definition. It really, like its title character, just doesn't have a pulse. This is a movie that tries to be everything at once. It doesn't know whether it wants to go the Brendan Fraser route, the Boris Karloff, and so it just tries to be every kind of movie. The action, that's the only good scene in the movie. Literally, that's the only thing I liked about this movie, is the plane sequence. I thought the romance was just lifeless. The comedy is just cringeworthy, and the scares are non-existent. There's not even any mystery in this movie.
I think the headline there that I'm seeing is "Mummy doesn't have pulse." Will Meyer.
Yes, that is the headline.
You said you would have rather sweeped popcorn. Is that what you said?
I was honestly playing a game in my head. I was thinking, what would I rather do than watch The Mummy right now? So it's the worst Tom Cruise movie I've ever seen. I'd say avoid at all costs. I just really did not like this movie.
Well, hopefully we can do better with this one. It comes at night.
It comes at night, yeah. This is a movie, a horror thriller starring Joel Edgerton, Riley Keough, Christopher Abbott. It's about a family. They're holed up in their home after this unexplained apocalyptic event has gone on outside that's caused people to be sick. They keep themselves sane through rules and order in their home, but then one day another family shows up seeking refuge, and it turns their world upside down. It's a movie from a 28-year-old writer-director, Trey Edward Schultz, his second movie. His first one, Krisha, came out last year. I thought it was really good, but challenging and bleak. And you could describe this somewhat the same way. This is being marketed, Daniel, as a mainstream horror film, and it is much more of an art house movie. So I think some people are not getting exactly what they expected, but I think it's still really good. It's atmospheric. It's all about mood. This is a film that really creates this unsettling vibe through lighting, through camera work, through music. It's very minimalist. It's a film, though, that does create great suspense. By the last half hour in this movie, I was just squirming in my seat. It was just so intense. So
I kind of got lost in the preview there, just the way it was filmed is mesmerizing.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating look at family, at paranoia. I love the writing. Every performance in this movie is excellent. The ending, this is where I kind of put an underline and in bold, this is an art house movie, and so it was even a little frustrating for me. I want to go back and see it to kind of see exactly where I stand, but I'm sure that I really, really, really like this movie. At least 3.5 stars. So
that's a great rating.
It's one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
From Will Meyer, 3.5 stars will do it. Now we'll take a very serious turn to Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. A lot of kids read this book. I read these books.
I read these books too. Yeah, this ran from 1997 to 2015. It's based on the toilet humor-filled novel series of the same name. Sold 70 million copies. I thought it was really fun, silly. That's kind of how I would describe the movie, though I think a little less so. They kind of have a hard time trying to figure out, do we embrace the lowbrow humor totally? They have the whoopee cushion jokes in here and Professor Poopy Pants, all that kind of stuff. But they try to throw the adults a bone too and give them some adult witty humor, which I chuckled in this movie. I never laughed out loud or anything. I thought that there's some cool flights of fancy, though, where they use flip books and sock puppets. That's pretty imaginative. And it's a lot of fun, the wish fulfillment of, being able to hypnotize your principal and make them do whatever you want.
A question I imagine a lot of parents have looking at this is that their children might want to go to it. Are there those jokes that are okay for the parents, or are they just going to be shaking their heads the whole time?
I mean, they try to throw the adults a bone, but the kids, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of whoopee cushion jokes too. Your kids may be saying poopy pants for the next week after they see this movie. So.
And you never thought you'd say that on TV, did you?
I never did. So it's fine. I enjoyed it. I think that parents are going to think it's passable. Kids are really going to like it. So I'd say 2 out of 4. So
2 out of 4. That's all right. And you'll keep us updated on Facebook with even more movies.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
right?
More reviews on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Will Meyer, the movie guy.
Okay, always checking out that page. Will, as always, thank you so much for being here. And we'll send things out on a bright, sunshiny day to Leslie.